Yeah, exactly. I thought no one would look at my resume because I have like a pre-med degree. But once I got that opportunity, I took advantage. And once you get the interview, it's basically how you perform at the interview. Like you just got to kill it, basically. I mean, you don't got to be perfect, but you got to know what you're talking about. Like, you got to show that you're capable of doing this. And I guess the hiring manager really liked that. So when I first interviewed, I didn't even know I was talking to the executive vice president of the company. I found out that later, and I guess he was really impressed by my projects and everything, and just the way I carried myself and handled myself. Like later on, the owners of the company were mentioning that the certain someone was really impressed and was recommending you a lot to get hired. So I guess that was like a big plus for me.
Today's interview is with a guy named Sean. I basically went from doing account management at a real estate company to IT and then got into cybersecurity later. And he has a really good work ethic and he knows how to study, and he talks about his whole journey breaking into like IT and cybersecurity. And I think he'd just be like a really good person to emulate and kind of take note of how he conducts himself and moves through the corporate world and all those things. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's going to be a good interview. Hey everybody, Josh Madakor here. I'm a cybersecurity YouTuber and CyberRange owner, and we have here or Sean, who joined the CyberRange community and did a bunch of stuff and ended up getting data analyst or a security data analyst role. Is that correct?
Data security analyst, yep.
Data security analyst. Cool. He agreed to come in and kind of talk about the process and like his job hunt journey and everything. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that a lot.
Yep, no problem.
Cool. So do you mind doing like maybe a brief introduction of what you're doing before you got this role and like kind of how you got into IT in the first place?
Yeah, of course. So I graduated from a four-year college out here in Indiana University, and I landed my first job as an account manager for a real estate company. From there, that's where like my interest in computers began because I was already working remotely 8 hours a day, always on my laptop, and from there, I started like watching YouTube, how to get into IT and stuff, and I discovered Josh. Started looking at his content, and from there, like I started looking into WGU, but I never really went to WGU since I already had a four year degree. I wasn't sure if I should get another one, so I just started just like self learning basically, and I first bought your course, the IT course, and did those projects, added them to my GitHub.
Oh, wow.
And right when I was finishing up the IT course, you came out with a cybersecurity course. It was like on a discount, so I was like, why not get this real fast before it gets more expensive? So I bought your cybersecurity course on time as well.
Oh, nice.
And from there, I just started self learning, doing projects, and I started applying for jobs, updating my resume, and yep, that's how I got here.
Cool. I didn't know you did the Course Careers course. Thanks for all the support. I appreciate those.
Yeah, no problem.
Gotcha. And then you worked in IT like before you went into cybersecurity, right? That's like how that went.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm only actually 6 months in right now into my IT job.
Oh, nice.
And then I guess in April, it's March 31st right now, but in April it's gonna be 6 months officially. So you could say I landed the security role 6 months later. So
Okay. Well, that's pretty fast progression. Did you have any certs or anything, or you just had your degree and like the projects?
I just had my projects and my degree. I've tried to study for certs, but sometimes you don't have that extra energy after work. Like you don't want to like since you're already like on the computer, like reading a bunch of knowledge based articles, updating knowledge based articles,
Mhm.
and troubleshooting other stuff. It's just like you just want to go home or like game. Like
Yeah.
at the gym or something. And but I plan on still getting my certs. I still want the security plus. I want the pen test plus as well,
Mhm.
and see where those take me.
That's cool. Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, you don't need like a ton of certs to break in, but it for sure helps. Because I ended up when I was trying to get into cybersecurity and during my IT time, I got a whole bunch of certs because I didn't know like how to get into the field. So I was just like doing everything that I could, and it helped. But there's like better ways, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So talking about the cyber like people don't know, it's just basically an open, realistic work environment with a lot of different security tools and stuff in it. Did you do all the courses and stuff inside of the cyber or how far did you get with that before you actually got your job?
Actually, I wanted to touch upon this for the cyber range. I only watched like I watched all your overview videos. Like just like the theory material. That's all I watched. I mainly relied mostly on the live security operations center Azure Honey Nut project
Oh,
uh,
okay.
as my stepping stone to get into security because that was a pretty impressive project, like in my eyes. So I felt like I was gonna save the vulnerability management and the threat hunting projects maybe for later down my career. Show those off
Yeah,
later.
gotcha.
So I was planning on doing those. I actually signed up for the subscription, like how you sign up for the Azure subscription, like try to I forgot what the step is called, but I actually got my access for that yesterday night, and
Okay,
I was planning on doing that, these coming weeks before I start my new role. But
gotcha.
I would definitely recommend that Security Operations Center Azure Honey Nut project because when I was explaining it in depth, the hiring manager was really impressed by that, and they were impressed by the maps, the incident response maps we made
Mm,
for secure shell and like all the attacks that were coming from like different countries.
gotcha.
It was pretty cool to just explain all that and everything, like using log analytics workspace, KQL. Obviously, I told like the when I was interviewing, I'm not an expert at KQL. I was obviously using like ChatGPT and other resources to help me write like different like would you say code or different like
Like the
uh,
queries.
queries. Yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah. So that's how I got my foot in the door.
that's cool. And were you like in a Zoom interview, and did you like share your screen and show them, or are you just kind of like explaining how it was?
I shared my screen actually. I went to my GitHub and
Nice.
showed them like step by step. Actually, when I forgot my first IT role, I showed them my um, Active Directory project we made from scratch, basically explaining step by step what we did, as well as a network protocol on Wireshark as well. I actually showed my network protocol Wireshark as well for my security interview, and they were
Nice.
impressed with that as well.
Yeah, that's cool. And for anyone watching, that's like a play. If you can do that, like when you're in the interview, that's kind of one of the big uses of your portfolio. Because I'll be excited if I'm trying to hire someone and they're like, "Oh, by the way, do you want to see my project?" Like for sure, I'll want to see it. And I'm not surprised that they were impressed by it. That's like really a really good move.
Yeah, especially if you explain it like detail by detail, like you can explain it like from the surface, but if you like go into it like what you did, like change this IP address to make it like static instead of like instead of changing every time, why you made it static, why you made that IP address static on that virtual machine, like stuff like that. I say they get really impressed by that, and it just increases your odds.
So, did they ask you like a lot of questions about like how did you set this up or like why did you do this? Like when you're showing them?
Not in depth. They did ask, like, for example, were you using like what type of were you using like endpoint security, any detection systems within the live security operations center?
Hmm.
Uh, since we were using Azure, we were using Microsoft Defender for Cloud within Azure, and I sort of just like some questions I didn't know. I just like I told them I was just using the resources that were available within Azure. Um, Obviously, Azure's a huge platform. I wouldn't know everything in
Hmm.
detail. So, I mean, I guess you got to be honest and sincere. You can't just make some stuff up, you know, because
Hmm.
they could tell, like, they would be able to tell you're BSing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and no, it's not like nobody can like know everything there is to know, and I feel like interviewers are really understanding. So if you're like honest and if you just say you don't know, but I can find out, or I don't know this, but I know that, it's like almost as good as like a correct answer. Well, that is like as correct as you can be anyway.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, cool. And then this is like, well, semi-related, but do you remember like how many jobs you had to apply for before you got the interview that eventually got you hired?
Yeah, so technically, I've been applying for cyber jobs. I would say um, February of 2024, but like on and off, not like every day. Um, I started taking it more seriously. I would say when I first got hired for my IT role, which was early November or late October. That's when I first got my IT job. I started applying for cyber jobs because I didn't want to stay in IT forever. And then after, I would say I applied on and off. So from October to it's about to be April. I would say I applied maybe to, I would say about 250, 300 jobs. I would
Okay.
say estimately.
Mm.
Surprisingly, the job that I applied for, I actually applied in January, early January, and they reached out to me 2 months later, which
Okay.
was I was surprised, but it was awesome.
Yeah, I noticed there's like a lag time. So like even after you get hired, it's possible like people are gonna still reach out to you sometimes to try to interview for some job you applied like a while ago.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, that's pretty good. I interviewed probably like maybe 20 people who went through the IT course, and on average, it was about 250 to 300 jobs, or 250 to 300 applications people were doing before they got hired. So that seems like about right.
yeah,
Yeah.
around there. You got, I mean, it's all about luck as well. It's a numbers game, like you said, and there's some luck as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like those, like you said, those videos you made about your employment pillar, those matter as well. Like I didn't, like for example, I thought I didn't have any certs, and I thought, oh, no one's gonna look at my resume. Like I didn't like really have confidence in my resume because I didn't have any certs, and I would just say I was too lazy to study for certs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could say not really too lazy, but just like it was a time management issue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't have like a cyber degree or nothing. I was originally gonna go into pre med, but I didn't like working at a hospital. Uh, I
Yeah.
have like a basically a pre med degree, and it was not even related to technology. So I would say those labs really helped me, and the experience that I gained with the internship component that you added really helped me land the IT role and the cyber role.
Oh, cool. I'm glad to hear that. And then for people like watching, I talk about this a bit. There's like a lot of stuff that people care about, like degree and cert and like all this stuff, and you can get by without like one of the things like he did. Like you didn't have certs, but you probably had like a really decent resume and then a really nice project and some other stuff, right? And then that at least got you the interview. And then when you're in the interview, you could perform and like get hired. So you don't like need certs, right? You don't need like every single thing. You can always like make up for it, like you did, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought no one would look at my resume because I have like a pre med degree, you know. But once I got that opportunity, I took advantage, and I would say basically once you get the interview, it's basically how you perform at the interview. Like you just gotta kill it, basically. I mean, you don't gotta be perfect, but you gotta know what you're talking about. Like you gotta show that you're capable of doing this, you know. And I guess the hiring manager, really liked that. And speaking of that, I didn't really. So when I first interview, I didn't even know I was talking to the executive vice president of the company.
Really?
I found out that later, and I guess he was really impressed by my projects and everything, and just the the way I carried myself and handled myself, and uh, like later on, the owners of the company were mentioning that the certain someone was really impressed and was recommending you a lot to to get hired. So
Nice.
I guess that was like a big plus for me.
That's dope. Did you do anything to prepare for your interview, like rehearsal or like researching who's interviewing you or like any of that, or how did you get ready?
I used so I did use your Anki deck that you had, the cybersecurity. Like I had the cybersecurity
Oh,
interview, behavioral and technical questions.
gotcha.
But on top of that, I did post a job description. I copied and pasted a job description into ChatGPT, and like asked, basically commanded ChatGPT to make like 25 technical questions, 25 behavioral questions regarding this job. And then I was just like, it would ask me a question, and I would just type in my answer, and it would let me know if it was a good answer or not. And
Nice.
basically, that's how I prepared. I still felt like I was underprepared, but I feel like everybody does when they're going to interview. But it was okay.
That's cool. I mean, I want to be like, that's a great strategy, but like, I recommend people to do this. I think it's like really good that you did it. Because you'd be surprised like how many people will just like not really prepare for the interview. They just like their preparation is just like hoping it goes well.
Yeah.
And but it sounds like you did like a lot of prep work. Are you allowed to talk about like, you don't have to tell me exactly, but like some of the questions they asked, was it like mostly technical or was it like a mixture, or how did that go?
So my first interview with the executive, it wasn't really a technical interview. It was more like basically trying to get to know me, my background and stuff. But he was asking questions when I was showing my projects. For example, like my HoneyNet project, I was showing him. He was showing me how he was asking me like, where were the logs going? What type of logs were you gathering? Like I was obviously the logs are going into the log analytics workspace built within Azure. I was telling him I was gathering like logs from the Key Vault, logs from the virtual machines, anything that happens within or the Linux machine. Um, so it was like a little bit quite like, you're obviously gonna get questions asked about the project, and those were the technical questions that were asked, but that's only because I was showing my project to them. If I didn't show my project to them, it would have been like, we'll let you know if you have another interview. Uh, but the second interview was a more of a technical interview, and um, the first interviewer did tell me to prepare for certain areas like intrusion detection systems, also like endpoints, um, as well as like port numbers and ports, uh, different type of what does like dynamic host configuration protocol do, or like what does domain systems do. A little bit of the Linux language. We did use some Linux language in the network protocol Wireshark lab. I remember, so I did present some of that as well. But mostly, there were some questions I didn't know actually, and he's like, "If you don't know, that's okay. This is an entry level position," which it was. It's an entry level cyber position, and I was honest. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I would always like try to like I would try to use my brain power to be like, maybe it could be this. Is it related to that? Or related to X, Y, Z or stuff like that. But the second one was more of a technical interview, and the third one was just I guess getting to know me. The owners wanted to know who they're hiring. This is a small company, by the way, and the
Okay.
owners wanted to know who they're hiring and stuff. So I guess they really liked me.
Nice. Good job. It sounds like it went well, and you had a whole like a loop of interviews, huh?
Yeah, I was 3 interviews in total.
Okay. Wow. That's cool. Damn, there was like, this is like, I'm bad at interviewing. There was something I wanted to say, but I completely forgot about it. Oh my God, you're saying something, and then I was like, oh, that's a good point.
I feel like everybody has a way to cope for an interview. Like I usually just drink tea or coffee, so my brain starts working more. Like
Okay,
I always drink either a cup of tea or a cup of coffee right before an interview. So I'm just like more, so I won't
awake.
stutter and just like more awake.
Yeah,
But that's my ritual.
that's smart. Yeah, cool. Did you have to do any star questions like those situation, task, action, result, or they didn't really ask you those?
Actually, I forgot to mention that. How would you handle this incident? And then I did like mention, I would prepare, take action. Basically, I mean, I actually forgot what it was now.
Oh,
I forgot.
the incident life cycle thing.
Yeah, the incident life cycle.
Yeah,
Forgot off the top of my head,
yeah,
but I did mention the incident life cycle. What would I do if there was like a major like an incident and I had to work it, make like a report at the end, test it out and everything. But I guess I explained it better back then. I just forgot on top of my head now. You know.
no, that's cool. Yeah, I know what you mean, because even now I think like I know preparation, and then probably like detect. There's some detect and quarantine and like eradicate, but I don't remember exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. And then are you allowed to talk about, like, you don't have to say like exact number, but was there like a range on the salary, or like a general?
Yeah, it was around mid 50s.
Okay. Oh, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
for entry level, I wasn't. It's not that bad for entry level. Yeah.
Yeah, shoot, like I will take this, because I always like think about like entry level job. It's a good way to think about it is like you're getting paid to do like training essentially. If you just like do your best, you can get money, and there's no guarantee. How can I say? There's no requirement that you have to stay there for a year anyway. So I just like enjoy those, and learn as much as you can, and then if you want to, like, start applying whenever you feel like it.
Oh yeah.
But that's pretty good. A lot of people would be like down with that, right? To even break into cybersecurity is like kind of hard. So good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And then, so you mentioned like you basically like had done like all of my products, like the IT course and the HoneyNet, and then the cyber range. So I don't want to like give people the impression like you have to like do my product to get into cybersecurity. Do you do you want to talk about like any stuff you did like outside of my courses that helped you, that you think might help other people?
The other stuff I did outside the course, to be honest, I only used other than your course, I only used ChatGPT to like research questions or topics I didn't understand,
Okay.
and I mostly like I didn't really create any other projects except the ones in your course.
Okay.
To be fair, and yeah, so like to be honest, I don't think I leveraged any other resource except ChatGPT in your courses.
Oh, damn. Well, I'm happy to hear that. But yeah, ChatGPT is like really, really good. You can just have like conversations with that thing for hours, and it's just like a tutor who doesn't get tired. So it's really good that you leverage that a lot. So,
Oh yeah, not only that, I look up random topics on ChatGPT, like how would Alexander the Great's army face, be how would they do against the Mughal Empire back in the early 1600s, I just be reading like a bunch of random stuff, which is pretty cool.
that's cool. I do like random stuff like this. Your questions sound more constructive. I'll like ask ChatGPT like a lot of weird stuff. I'll get canceled if my like GPT like history comes out, I think, but
I see.
but yeah, it's really good. Um, but yeah, so it sounds like basically like the HoneyNet project helped you a lot. Did you do that project multiple times, or just like one time and it was like enough for you?
I did it about 3 times, I would say. And the first 2 times I did it like watching the videos. And the third time I did it without the videos.
Oh, nice.
And surprisingly, I actually didn't do it before my interviews. I like the last time I did it was like probably 2 months before my first interview for the
Oh, okay.
cyber. But I was looking at my GitHub and I remembered how like everything, like not like everything by detail, but like basically like how it was set up and how it worked. And I sort of like I got like that's stuck to my head, like some people, they have to do it 4 or 5 times to get it stuck to their head. Sometimes you got to do it less, but everybody's different, And I felt really confident. I could do it. I could alliterate what I did like in a good manner where they can understand it, and where I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. It sounds like it worked really well. So, people watching, it's good to like if you can get. This is like how I get my like 100K skills. I like to say is just get like a really good lab, and then do that thing like it's not as many times as you need to kind of be able to articulate and talk about it really well, and it just helps like build your intuition. It makes things like easy to talk about in the interview, kind of like you were able to like explain everything, right, even though you didn't just do it, right? It helps.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so do you have any like not, it doesn't have to be necessarily related to like our course or anything, but just people watching who want to get into IT or cybersecurity. Do you have any general advice for them?
I would say the biggest is this may sound cheesy, but like just don't give up. Just keep applying and applying because it is a numbers game. And once you get to that one interview, seize that opportunity, just seize it right off the bat. Like, just basically prepare for it like a week ahead. That's what I did. I prepared for it like a week ahead. I'll spend like 2 hours after work and just like ask chat gpt questions, sometimes look at my GitHub and just see how I did those projects, like what steps went. I also downloaded the knowledge base articles for the projects step by step and went over those as well, how it worked and stuff. But I would say it's just it is a numbers game. The economy's not the best right now, and most people understand that. And just keep trying. I would say this is the best advice.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. And I agree. The more that you do, like the more you're going to be able to do in the future, if that makes sense. And it sounds like you did a lot and you executed consistently, and it just paid off in the end. So yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people. Explaining your journey. So thanks again for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem, Josh. Thank you for creating the courses. Without you, this wouldn't be possible.
Absolutely. Thanks for saying that.
Yep.